Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to Incremental Progress, a weekly show here on Facebook Live, 11:45 Mountain Standard Time every Wednesday, dedicated to helping business owners take an incremental step forward in their life and their business every single week. Thank you for joining me. My name is Alexander. I'm the president and executive producer here at Measurable Genius. We provide agency services to our clients and help them find their story, acquire new leads, and scale their business. I'd like to introduce to you today's topic, which is life begins at intention. It's kind of cool. Every week I get to come up with something that I want to talk to you about. I get to explore the mysteries of the universe and parachute back into my basement and put on this wonderful show for you in a very well-structured way. We're going to follow a show plan today that covers a lot of topics that are deeply meaningful to me. I have quite literally dedicated my life to the purpose of helping people unlock the mysteries that I hope you're able to discover with me. Okay? So, as always, the intended outcome for you to attend today's episode or to watch today's episode is to learn something, digest some information, have an insight, get a question answered, or have some new vision or intention emerge that is going to transform your behavior tomorrow. You're ultimately going to take a measurable step forward in your life and in your business by watching today's show. So I encourage you to invite your friends. If there's something that you'd like to have me cover on today's topic of intentions, intention setting, what are intentions, how can we apply intentions in a way to our life that is meaningful, measurable, those types of things, please put them in the comments below this live stream. And if you're watching on replay, post those comments anyway, and I will come back and answer your questions. All right? I'd like to explore some of the reasons why hopefully you're here with us today. Life begins at intention is a topic that can be interpreted, I think, a lot of different ways. Intentions as a language can sway heavily into the world of fairy tale pretty quickly. And so what's very important to me, I run a company called Measurable Genius. So what's very important to me today is that we break this concept down into something that we can measure together, something that you can have a tactical experience of in your life. I want you to be able to see clearly in your own mind's eye your truth about life. I'd like to set the context for today's episode that the episode is an exercise in exploring your own mind palace. We are essentially creatures who are creating through our intention the outcomes and the realities and the results that we face in life. I'm not going to get into the nature versus nurture debate because that's a step below what I want to cover today, which is how do we programatize our life into something that feels tangible, feels predictable, feels like something we're connected to, feels real. Okay? And for you, if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, and I hope you are because that's who this show is dedicated to, you most critically of all need to be seeing clearly in your mind's eye what it is that you intend to create, because you are taking under your wing material resources, assets, and the collective effort of the people that you employ and the people that you hire towards your intentions. And so consciously or unconsciously, you are operating in a life, in a set of systems, in a marketplace, in a social relationship to the people that you care about most, in a way that your intentions are already being applied. Intentions are not something you have to manufacture in your behavior. They're a part of the process already made manifest. Today we're going to explore what you can do to gain command of your intentions. We're going to discuss how you can become conscious about your intentions. We're going to explore what's necessary, what obstacles you're going to have to overcome in order to be effective and efficient in consciously aligning your intentions with your automatically expressed sense of meaning, your behaviors, your sense of values, and the things that are most important to you. Okay? So some of the experiences that you might have when you're not in command of your intentions is that you're automatically likely pleasing authority figures. You're automatically trying to live up to the expectations of other people. You defer or you delegate your decision making to third parties. You recruit multiple people into areas of life that you want them to be accountable to that they never can be. You abdicate the areas of your life to people that you don't want to face or you don't want to deal with. You are unwilling to take on challenge. You create a sense of entitlement. You end up feeling desperate and alone. Your material resources tend to be depleted from you in the form of unexpected expenses, lawsuits, and other forms of social feedback. You tend to depreciate your material wealth. You tend to bring entropy, chaos, and destruction into the systems you participate in. You feel self-destructive. You don't give yourself permission to set goals. You have claims of clouded mindedness, or perhaps you are feeling disconnected. You're not feeling motivated. You're looking for outside authority, okay? You commonly will be in experiences or perceptions of guilt and shame. You're going to perceive that things have been taken from you. You're going to essentially have your entire world constructed around a depleting and depreciating cause, right? You're going to be focused on causes that don't actually matter to you. You're going to find yourself stepping into platforms on principle of having a platform, but not the platform itself, and it's going to be empty and void, and you're not really going to get the satisfaction that you think you're going to get from it. You're going to make enemies of people who challenge your values, or enemies of people who could help you, but it would force you to admit that all of these things are not real, right? There's all manner of circumstances that can occur or will occur if you choose not to be intentional in your life. If you choose not to take into your complete accountability your own life experience, you will create these symptomatologies that I'm expressing, okay? And these are meant to be feedback mechanisms for you. There's gradations of them. To the degree that you see yourself as being in command, and to the degree that you're willing to learn lessons from your life experience, you'll be willing to hear the feedback that your life is providing to you. You'll hear feedback from your physiology. You'll listen to your symptoms instead of trying to repress them. You will not allow yourself to subscribe to runaway beliefs that lead off into fantasies and nightmares, delusions of grandeur, and concepts that you're going to die. You won't allow your mind to polarize, is what I'm trying to say. If you're in command, you'll hear, you'll listen, you'll learn, and you'll heed your social intuition. You'll hear people's feedback in your life, and you'll want to follow their instruction because you're willing to see that their feedback is a mechanism of their caringness for you, regardless of how it's showing up and the resistance that you feel in wanting to accept it, right? You'll humble yourself to the people in your life who are authorities and mentors that you should listen to, and you'll be clear and congruent in your certainty that there are people in your life who you shouldn't listen to, and you'll make those determinations because you'll follow the wisdom of seeing how they manage their resources instead of listening to the bullshit that they're trying to believe about themselves, right? And you won't allow what people say to convince you of anything that isn't true for you, because you'll have a voice on the inside that you actually listen to, right? And you don't have to be on a quest for that one voice that's going to rescue you. It's insane. You cannot give your power to any part of your outside world without giving your power to the outside world. Like, at a very basal level, your commitment to life is binary, and Einstein recognized this when he said that you can either look at your life as though everything is a miracle or nothing is. Either the universe is a miracle or it is not a miracle. There's no partial God. There's no partial faith. It's one way or the other. And as a business owner, you're connected to something bigger. And therefore, you have an accountability to that thing. It's not about you. And although it might feel like it's about you, and although your life experience might appear as if it's about you, and although you might have to behave and act and express and communicate and build a brand on it being all about you, it's never about you. At best, it's about you and the person you're serving, but never just you. But truly, it's about the thing that was there before you got here, which is whatever your cause is, whatever's meaningful, whatever you're working on, whatever the purpose is. It was here before you were here, and it will be here when you're gone. The question is, are you willing to truly go and care for that thing? Are you truly willing to fully commit yourself to a life of service to that cause? Are you working and willing to work until you die to find never-ending and ever-increasing depths of specificity, refinement, and capacities for service? It's not ever going to end. It's not something you're ever going to be done. And so if it's about anything but that, then you're lost in an experience where you are disempowered and not being intentional about the things you have command over in your own life. And so for many people, I think this can be very complicated because they're like thinking that being in command is about a million different specializations. You have to go learn how to be fit. You have to learn water. You have to learn how to eat food. You have to learn how to care for your physiology. You have to learn how to do your functional training. You have to go do your cross crawling. Got to make sure your brain is all taken care of. Got to make sure you don't have heavy metals. Got to make sure you're eating enough nutrients. Got to make sure that you're having social relationships. You're getting 13 hugs a day. You got to do X amount of connection with your spouse. You got to make sure you're following the 7 rules of manhood or womanhood or whatever genderhood you are. You got to make sure that you're following social cues. You got to make sure you understand how to go to a dinner party. You got to know how to do banking. You got to know how to do investing. You got to know how to do what? I haven't even begun. There's all these things that you got to go do. You don't have to be a specialist in all of them. That's not the point. The point is you have to be intentional about how those things end up being challenges you face head on because you want to. It's this decision to be intentional comes ahead of all of these other decisions. And it shows up in how you meet life's challenges. Okay? So I am not the person in your life who can assess you, who can be like, you are intentionally good enough or you are not intentionally good enough. I cannot assess you. I can help you be accountable to the markers that you can assess yourself by. I can help you ask quality questions that we can use to determine how true your beliefs, how true your thoughts, how true your affirmations, how true your intentions, how true your vision, how true your mission is to you. We can compare those things clearly against a number of indicators in your life. It's an absolute science. I'm certain we can do it. But the question is, do you want to do it? Do you want to be intentional? Do you want to take on the challenge of living an intentional life? Because I think there's people out there who are like, I'm gonna go be a leader. I'm gonna go be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna go change the world. I'm gonna go be a person who built a product that solves a problem. I'm gonna go be of service. And that affirmation, that intention is imbued with feelings and meaning and with stories that aren't real. And there's tons of people who are living their life as if their stories are already completely known. They're so fucking certain about nothing at all. They have an answer to every question. They're avoiding a life of intention and consequence because they're afraid of the answers that they're going to get if they allow themselves to answer them with any degree of curiosity. And that's the worst, isn't it? Isn't it the worst to not be curious about life? If there's nothing else to do, if there's no other question to explore, if there's no other mystery to solve, if there's no problems to go tackle, if there's no challenges to face, if there's no thing for us to do, what the fuck are we here for? So the cause is here before you're here, and it will be here while you're gone. And your connection to that cause may be meaningful, but you may not actually care as much about the thing that you put out into the world as you think you do. Because if you're like many of the people that we talk to, many of our clients, many of the people that we work with, and almost every single person that I meet at a workshop, they're saying this thing. They're saying, Alexander, I have these intentions, but the results I'm achieving in my life just don't line up. So what the fuck? I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do. I'm working on the things I'm supposed to work on. I did Facebook ads before. I have hired coaches. I've followed the fucking instructions. I took the rule book for life. I've applied it to the best of my ability, and I'm getting no results. I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm not making the results as quickly as I want to make them. I'm not achieving them as quickly as I want to achieve them. Or here's the fucking worst one. I'm going out into the world and I'm saying the thing that I want to do, and I'm getting feedback that is the opposite. My mentors are shutting me down. I can't answer the questions. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking for advice. I can't feel certain. I don't have a crystallized thing that I can sell. I don't have a clear package. I don't know how to convert my customers. I don't even know what their pain is. I'm not even sure how to serve them, but I'm following this checklist. I'm doing the things. How come I'm not having the results I want in life? How come I'm not having the results that I want in life? And it's shitty. So we have a clip we're going to play, and then we're going to jump into how we can apply this to our lives in a bunch of different ways. Here's the thing about intentions, okay? Nothing happens without one. So your willingness and your practice in defining your intentions is a determinant for how successful you're going to be. Period. If you don't feel comfortable and bold and immediate and clear in making an intention, don't say to me, oh, I'll just become those 4 things. That's not happening. You need to check in on what feelings come up for you that inhibit you from wanting to express those intentions.
I teach people in the breakthrough experience the
come up for you that inhibit you from wanting to express those intentions. Well, if I express those intentions, they're not going to come true. I don't want to be called out for missing my intentions. I don't want to be embarrassed because I made an intention and it didn't happen. I don't want to be too bold and have other people make fun of me. What comes up for you when I ask you to define an intention? Because those things that come up for you are the beliefs that I've been talking about all morning that you've already created about yourself, those identifying characteristics. Well, I'm not going to be a rich person. I don't need money. I'm just fine, doing whatever. I'd be okay with just a mediocre fucking life. How about not? How about nobody on the planet is going to give you self-permission? They're not going to give you permission. Nobody's going to parachute. Jesus ain't going to come down from the sky, pop through these windows, be like, yo, it's time to claim your future. I'm here to give you permission. Oh wait, no, that was me. I just did that. You have permission. Does that make sense? If you don't give yourself permission, if you define an identity for yourself, that's exactly what other people are going to think of you, because you put off that energy. You'll literally say to people those things. Well, I don't need the money. I'm fine just being whatever, right? Discipline number 1, make a habit of setting intentions. This isn't a get-rich-quick seminar. This isn't like, let's go and affirm our genius into a Lamborghini tomorrow, okay? There are principles in life that we have to follow. You're gonna follow them. We're gonna abide by them. If you're able to play the game effectively, you get some compound advantages. Maybe some weird quantum shit occurs. Maybe there's some magnetizing principles. Let's just work with the basics though. At the end of the day, what we have total control over, to a degree, is your behavior, okay? We can control your behavior to a degree, almost never in the moment. We can almost never in the moment control your behavior, but in the long term, we can ultimately have the greatest impact on our behavior. That's our number 1 pivot point. Our number 1 pivot point in life is our behavior. So to be intentional in life is to be intentional about being a student of our own behavior, essentially. A student about our own behavior. Now, in order to get feedback loops going, you know this as a business owner or an entrepreneur, you're out in the market basically provoking pain points, provoking value transactions, provoking exchanges, provoking attention, provoking. We need to provoke and agitate an environment in order to capture attention, and then with that attention, ultimately, you're engaged in some sort of service, transaction, or sale of a product, okay? And that is a feedback loop. So if you are like, here's what's important to me. in the way that I understand it and I have language and story for it best. And you package that up and you take it to the market's going to understand it, they're going to relate to it, they're going to respond to it, or they're not going to. And let me just add a level of complexity we're not getting into. When I say the market, what I mean is audiences you're testing in the market, because there's this thing about the market, it's gigantic. So you're targeting people in the market, communities of people who are basically telling similar stories about life as the stories that you help people transcend and solve. And you target in on them and you position an offer, and if that offer is communicated and is actually perceived as valuable to them, then they're gonna just buy your shit. That's the entrepreneur's dilemma. How do I package up something that's meaningful and important to me, communicate it to the market in a way that's meaningful and important to them, at a value proposition and an exchange that is appealing to both parties in such a way that I can achieve the scale of results that I want to produce in my life against my expectations for my lifestyle and the results that I want to produce and my functional requirements and the things that I am necessarily accountable to, like my kids or my employees, or the hard costs I've acquired, like debt or mortgages or whatever it might be. At the end of the day, that's a functional container called you think you can help people. So we have to go on this journey of packaging that up. Now, that all started with intention. That all started with a vision. It starts in one of two ways, but they're entangled. It starts with you observing a current reality. This is only going to matter to some portion of people in the world, okay? Other people are going to label the thing that you want to do in this direction. They're going to want to go the other way with it. Some group of people out there is going to resist this transformation that you're expressing. The thing that you want in the future can be equally driven by dissatisfaction. So there's just two ways to look at this. You have an experience, it then becomes hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. And you're like, life could have been better, so let's make a change that makes life better based on this. This is dissatisfaction. Over here, we essentially have an impulse, okay? This is like an impulse towards the future, some type of reaction. This is how everyone is operating. You do a thing, cause and effect happens, results happen, you attempt to reverse engineer the results you had in life, you go, oh shit, that was painful, I didn't like it. Or, oh, that was pleasureful, I did like it. So you're like, ka-ching, I want the thing that was pleasureful. And then you iterate. You're like, okay, so next time I'm gonna try to achieve the same results or something a little bit better. And over and over and over and over and over and over. And there's these people that are like, well, Darwin says this is how it's done. So we basically just have things happen, random mutations, and animals then have feedback from their environment, and then based on the thing that predicates towards life, we're gonna move in that direction. Fair enough, all right? That's what this is. This is like, I want something that gives me more of what I label as life-giving, and I want to move away from something that I perceive as death-giving, and that's a spectrum. This is just now one big spectrum. Your mind is that spectrum, and you're like, okay, I'm learning lessons. I'm having incremental progress. I'm observing my reality, I'm having dissatisfaction, I'm then transforming my goals and my desires based on that. And I'm saying that that is one way to do it, and anybody can do it that way. And this is the thing that differentiates leaders from everyone else, which is a more prudent way to go about doing this is to set an intention in life that you know is going to endure both support and challenge. But you want that type of a future because you know two things. One, life will never be without challenge. And so if your automatic nature is to build a life based on pleasure and pain response, then you're going to achieve at best a rudimentary life because you're using rudimentary feedback systems to make your decisions. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And I think it's prudent to use a more refined set of instruments to set your intentions so that you have the maximal probability of significantly multiplying up your returns, because I can show evidence to support that when we narrow in our effort on a very narrow set of root values, those values can expand into potentially infinite products and services and possibilities in terms of the actions available to us, but they anchor us in what provokes the most meaning. And so, if we're building a life rooted in meaning, then we're willing to endure and steep in the support and challenge and experience that comes with that perception of meaning, because we experience automatically what can be indisputably labeled as growth, in spite of the fact that you or the people observing your growth may not understand the specific vector, the specific long-term plan, or what the specific outcomes are going to be. And that's the interesting bit. The interesting bit here is that growth is universally recognized, but not a single fucking person puts any effort into really putting it into words. Isn't that true, Stephen? You're like in this world. People don't really talk about what the fuck the point is. What is the point? The point is to grow. The point of life is to grow and eventually to die, but grow. The point is to grow. Your point is to grow. Your purpose is rooted in the principle in life called you are meant to grow. Growth occurs at the border of support and challenge. Every organism on the planet has a balance of support and challenge. Every ecosystem on the planet has predator and prey baked right into it. Every system on the planet is locked in a dance of thermodynamics. And those systems, within those systems, those thermodynamics are completely entangled. And what we're learning today further is that below all of that, there's an even more entangled universe where everything is literally connected to everything. And when the electron vibrates, the whole universe shakes. And we are actually connected to that in a more meaningful way than you could ever imagine. And so here's my proposal. My proposal is that we can hack this system. And it's going to depend on the following principles that we're going to go through now, okay? Those principles are this. Your intentions, when aligned with what your behavior demonstrates is most meaningful and important to you, have the highest probability of causing the experience called growth. First and foremost, when you consciously align your actions with what your behavior demonstrates is meaningful and important to you, you have the maximally produced result in your life that you can possibly create for yourself under your own will and your own determination. You have the maximum growth available to you. You have the maximum growth available to you in your life to the degree that you identify what is meaningful and important to you. And then you structure and you align your daily actions by breaking down your long-term and immortal values, your mission, your cause, your big, hairy, audacious goal into 5 to 10 year targets, 3 to 5 year thrusts, 1 year plans, and 90-day action plans that have goals and priorities that are lined up in a way that you are most probable to line your actions up with that vector called your purpose. That is true. And as a business owner, I know you're distracted, and I know you have shit going on, and I know there's 19 million things you can label an emergency, and I know you have 1,000 compulsions a day to put things that are unimportant and not meaningful and that are actually simply urgent and emotional at the top of your list of actions. I know that you don't have systems. I know that you don't have a coalescing dashboard of automatically measured KPIs and data points in your business that you can refer to. I know you don't have these things, but what I do know you have is the ability to commit to a plan rooted in your long-term values, attached to something that's actually meaningful, that then therefore allows you to align your activities and your actions every day with that. And as you do that, miraculous shit will happen. Principle number 1. Principle number 2. Intentions are part of programming your behavior and are not something that can be effectively used to transform your beliefs unless you collect them to this process called, or if you connect them to this process called collecting evidence. And evidence is a very interesting word for me because we need to link evidence to something for it to have any meaning. So when I say evidence, what I mean is evidence towards your intentionally crafted and aligned stories, your values, your purpose, your mission, your BHAG, your thrusts, your annual objectives, your quarterly plan, your sense of identity, the things that are meaningful. When I say evidence, I mean setting an affirmation that has meaning because you've aligned it with your values and what's important to begin with, and then using that affirmation as a way to provoke a question in the mind so that the mind can go to work doing what it does best, which is automatically attenuating to the answers of questions that have been posed to it, so that you can automatically collect the evidence in your mind's eye for what you can observe as real and true of growth towards your mission, your purpose, your values, your contribution, your business, etc. The mind is always working on the last unanswered question. Every insecurity you have, every anxiety you have, every emotion you have is rooted in an unanswered question or a series of compounded questions. Every single emotion you experience is a result of an unbalanced equation, a question in the mind that you've not been able to reconcile, that you don't see the magic or the mystery in, that you're not willing to accept and that you know is not true. And so you can deal with the infinitely expanding onslaught of questions that the universe will happily impose upon you, okay? I know you have way more emails in your inbox than you want to reply to. I know you're getting more messages on Facebook than you want to engage with. I know you have more social demands on you than you want to fucking go connect with. I know you have more communication that you need to have with your team than you want to really have. I know that there's this game that you play where you're trying to balance your voice, your inner voice, against the voices on the outside. We all play that game, and some of us are better at expressing our voice and overpowering those voices than others. And there's a few different ways to approach it. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that those voices on the outside are never going away. Never. They are never going away. And as your influence expands, you touch more people, the voices expand exponentially. It's something that you better prepare to continue dealing with forever. If you don't have certainty and will from within, you will be forever governed from without. By whatever. By myriad systems. Your relationship, the economy, your competitors, the environment literally, floods, disasters, physical injuries, social and family constraint. You're going to end up having a sense of spiritual disconnection. There's things that happen to you if you choose not to empower your voice, and if you wait for them to stop talking, they are never going to start stopping. Never stop, never stopping. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to. So you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to paint onto your life anything you're willing to commit to in the mind. Anything you're willing to commit to in the mind. I can sit here and imagine a studio. I'm in a studio. I affirm that this is a studio. I call it a studio. I introduce myself as an executive producer. I refer to it as a studio. I talk to my clients and I invite them to my basement studio. I am not ashamed to admit where I'm at in life, and I am coloring and flavoring this experience with as much meaning as I can, because I'm literally working on imbuing my life with affirmation and intention that's coming true. There's evidence baked into this experience every week. My name's Alexander and I do a weekly show. My name is Alexander and this is my 11th weekly show. Every Wednesday at 11:45, I put on a show called Incremental Progress. It's a show because I have a show plan. It's a show because I call it a show. It's a show because it's at a certain time. It's a show because we treat it like TV. It's a show because I'm building a studio. It's a show because I choose to tell stories. I choose to follow a structure that makes it a show. And that's an affirmation, that's an intention, is it not? And I'm showing incremental evidence of greater and greater degrees of influence, greater and greater degrees of reward, greater and greater degrees of contribution, greater and greater degrees of quality, greater and greater degrees of social feedback, because I'm choosing to commit to this intention, and then I've decided to broadcast it into the world. Does that make sense? Like, I'm expanding my affirmation now into my social sphere, and here's the interesting thing, to the degree that I get it right about myself, because really, remember, it's not about me, but in order for this to happen, I have to know me. I have to know me. And to the degree that I get that right, I go into the world and I get social feedback that says, that's right, you're right, this is right, let's do it. And to the degree that I don't know myself, I get responses from the universe going, that's not clear, I'm not clear, we're not clear, this doesn't feel right. And you know what I'm talking about. But the problem is, for many of you, you react to that like it's their fucking problem. See where I'm going with that? It's not their problem. It's not their problem. It's you. It's what you believe about yourself. It's what you've seen to be true about you. Okay? And so, intentions are programmatically able to transform your environment into an environment that gives you exactly what you want. Here's the thing. People want to help you. So to the degree that people know how to help you, they will help you. To the degree that I become more specific about what help I need, my intentions, my projects, the things that I'm working on, what I'm willing to share with the world, what I'm confidently willing to stand behind, what I'm actually willing to set out into the world and endure the pain in achieving. Those things. And to the degree that I'm willing to be wrong. Because it's a gamble. All of this is a gamble. I could be wrong. I'm just okay with that. Okay, I'm okay with it because I'm going to learn something. I'm hardened by that, right? And to the degree that I get that right, people then come back to me and they're like, I want to help you. I understand where you're going. Your story resonates with me. I want to help. I want to buy your stuff. I want to work with you. I want to get your feedback on how this stuff works. I see that you're credible. You have a sense of meaning. You're tied to authority. You position your arguments in a way that makes sense. You appear to have experience because you know what's going on. And all of that is true, and I believe it about myself. I don't have any issue being like, this is who I am. Now, I can be an aggrandizing narcissist. That's one way to label me, but that's only true in some cases. That's true in the cases where I don't actually have the evidence and I'm putting on a show. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's only true in the cases where I haven't fully seen myself. And so there's the next question. How do you make sure that you're doing this with a sense of accuracy, that you're not injecting and fueling your life with resentments and fantasies because you have people, places, or things, results, or traits, or characteristics up on a pedestal? You're not willing to receive or to express certain behaviors. You're having blind spots and scotomas. You're having stories that are disempowering you. These injected opinions and value systems are preventing you from living your dreams, and your voice is smothered by all this crap that's going on. Like, how do you escape? How do you escape? And it comes with a set of principles. It comes from having a belief about yourself of a couple basic things, which is every human being on this planet has every single trait. I know that you don't physically go murder people, but you've had experiences in your life where you've murdered people's dreams. You've murdered their desires. You've murdered their faith in their self. You've murdered characteristics about themselves. You've shared information with them that have caused them to have a sense of death, or a death of identity, a death of ego within. You have every characteristic. That's just one. There's thousands, and there's combinations, and so there's exponents on thousands. But the point is, you have the capacity to demonstrate every behavior, and so does everyone else. Any behavior that you react to, or that people are reacting to you about, is a behavior that you haven't seen all of in your life. You're having a one-sided perception. You're having an open question. You're having an open loop. You're having an open challenge. You haven't seen the blessings. You're connected to a story. You've given your power away to someone else. That's absolutely true. And to the degree that you have emotions in your life, to the degree that you're an emotional person, to the degree that you're not able to govern your own behavior, to the degree that you're not able to predict your own behavior, to the degree that you're not able to control your own reactions, you have stuff to work out in your life. You've got questions. You've got things that you need to see in the world about who you've given your power to, and you need to work on taking it back. And that's something that sounds like woo-woo. It sounds like, just go get over it, get under it. And so the thing is, there's ways to be clear about this. So you want to embody a characteristic that you don't see as true about yourself. You want more money. You want more fame. You want more social prestige. You want more connection. You want more intelligence. You want to be more like someone. You want to achieve some new thing. You can go out and you can look for it. And you can find evidence that it's true. And you can do that by being intentional. Intentional in committing to the process of asking questions that put you in command, that put you in a position of accountability of your own life. Okay? First and foremost, you must basically say, no matter what happens or does not happen to me, it's my fault. 100% of the results that I experience are about me. You need to be functional, because if you run a business, you have a team, you have to operate in a functional way. You can't start rescuing every one of your team members from every emotional lesson they have to learn by being like, well, it's all my job. That's not true. It's all your job, and it's all their job. It's all of our jobs. But in your life, it's your job. It's your job to be intentional in a way that says, I'm accountable 100% to what is happening to me, what is happening through me, what is happening for me, what is happening around me. And my reactions imply a path forward to questions that I have yet to answer for myself about what it is I've experienced, where it is I'm at, what it is I want. And somewhere in my life, I'm lying. I'm subordinate. I'm trying to please someone. I think I'm better than someone. I'm not seeing clearly my own power, and I'm allowing that emotional experience to run me and reacting to those experiences and learning in hindsight, which means I'm not being intentional. I'm not programming my life with what I want. I'm responding to the infinite demands of the universe, which will keep me enslaved forever. You know? So here's what you can do. You can change those perceptions by programming a new story and collecting evidence that it's true. You need to determine what is most meaningful and important to you, what your behavior demonstrates is important. A good exercise for this is you've got things in your calendar or things on your to-do list right now that you've already scheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled. And if you've rescheduled something more than 3 times, I'd like you to look at that thing and acknowledge that it's unimportant. not objectively. It's not unimportant in life, but it's unimportant to you. And you're not getting it done, so stop trying. Just look for where you think something is important to you and get rid of it. And do that a few times. Identify 5 things right now you can let go of because they are fucking up your expectations. They are causing you to collect evidence for where you're a failure. You're using them as opportunities to martyr yourself, and you need to let them go so that maybe you could just automatically do the important stuff you're automatically going to do anyway. Okay? That's step number 1. Step number 2, what are you automatically working on in your business the most? What is it that you're doing the most that you feel guilty about that you need to recognize is actually most important? And you need to ask the question, how is this thing that I feel guilty about doing truly valuable to my business in a way that I haven't given myself permission to acknowledge? How is this thing that I'm accidentally doing in my business that I feel guilty about actually the most valuable thing that I could be focused on in a way that I have not yet recognized? Okay? And that'll free you of some of the guilt, and it'll empower you to do the thing that you're already doing automatically because you're a secret genius. And you've been doing your high priorities, and this mind game is all that's fucking you up. Okay? Those are 2 actions you can take. You go do those 2 little bits of homework, and your life has the potential to change this week. Okay? So I would like to share with you a message, a call to action. This is not a call to action, a marketing one. Don't leave. This isn't like, I'm going to sell you something. This is like a call to action because I think that you need to hear this. I've just spent how long have we been doing this? 40 minutes, 45 minutes enrolling you in this principle. And I just want to pass the microphone to my mentor who enrolled me in this to begin with because he is right. He's right. And so listen to this call to action. I hope it inspires you to take a step forward. Let's roll that clip. We'll be right back.
I teach people in the Breakthrough Experience the DeMartini method. The method on how to dissolve pride, shame, infatuation, resentments, grief, attractions, repulsions to people, anything that distracts you from being present. It's a science. It's a step-by-step science to help you stay present. And then what we do is we do that method and we go and take the most powerful people on the planet in each of the 7 areas of life, and we go and find out where you have whatever you see in them. Because nothing's missing in you at the level of the essence of your soul. Only in the existence of your senses do you have this apparent assumption that there's something missing in you. I had a lady do that in London who owned the Traits, the Grapes in London, and did Tony Blair, the Prime Minister, in the Breakthrough Experience on Sunday. The following morning, she was walking through Regency Park, stopped in this little cafe thing and had a breakfast and had some coffee or whatever. And David Cameron, the Prime Minister, was walking through the park, stopped and sat directly in front of her and sat there. And she sent me a picture when I was passing through Singapore the next day on the way to Sydney to speak. She says, my God, that was overnight. I just finished doing the method on a Prime Minister. I'm having breakfast with the Prime Minister. Now, the probability of meeting up with a Prime Minister you've never met in your life, happen to be in a park the next morning, comes from that breakthrough experience, I'm certain. Because you're now resonating in a new field of possibility. And we don't give ourselves permission to play there. Why not? Why not?
So it's a shocking story. I wouldn't say that's the common result. But what I would say is that my rate of manifestation is off the charts. I would argue that my capacity for transformation, my ability to take action, our ability to manifest the results that we want to manifest, that I'm predicting and creating intentionally through our strategic planning process, through the master planning work that I've done with John, through the work that I do incessantly to keep my mind in poise. The work that I do incessantly to keep my mind intentional and focused on my highest priorities is what differentiates me from my competitors and from almost everyone else in the market. I am willing to sacrifice what many are not willing to sacrifice in order to play this game called cultivation of vision, to play the game called putting myself out there in position of liability in order to basically preach a message, in order to take on the challenge of enrolling hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds or millions of people into the act of living a more productized or a more productive and prioritized life, I am able to do that, and we've done over and over shit that many could do easily if they were to just put their minds to it and try. And one of the things that I have not seen evidence for in my life that I'm going to share with you now is the value of this energy, this way of being to the table. I bring this to the table. When you work with me, or you talk with me, or you attend a seminar with me, you will realize very quickly that I want to fucking conquer this. I don't want to live a life of mediocrity. I don't want to live a quiet life of desperation. I want to live a life of meaning. Success and fame and money and all of that are byproducts of living a life of meaning. You can have a life of meaning and not have those things. I will have those things. I will have those things because I will be able to live a life of meaning, because at the very least, I am intentional about creating that for myself. So I don't know if that means I'm going to be relatively a nobody or fucking Oprah. And I don't care. I don't care. I have the opportunity to do shit that's meaningful. And you can have a life of meaning too. If you start today and you make it about doing something meaningful today, and you align your daily actions with your immortal plans, you can extract meaning from those experiences that produce evidence for your growth and your progress, that creates certainty and action that is meaningful in the market and demonstrates meaning to others, which provokes them to buy your shit. It's automatic and it's magnetic. So if you're interested in transforming from feeling powerless and victimized, and you want to feel like you're getting results, and you don't want to have to feel like you're finally finished or you're just about over the hump and all of that other crap, and you want to feel like you're just getting started in life, no matter how long you've been doing this, because really that's what it can be. You can live a life where every single day you show up and you feel like we're just getting started. But if you're desperate and worried and making it all about you, then you're probably hoping it's almost over. And that's counterproductive to building a business. So, thank you for watching today's episode of Incremental Progress. I hope that something in the episode has moved you forward, or that you're going to take one of the actions that I prescribed in order to take a step forward in your life or your business this week. I really appreciate your attention. I appreciate your comments and your engagement. I love that you showed up and that you've watched with me. I love you guys. I really do. So if you haven't commented and there was something in this episode that struck a chord that you believe is impactful or is content that would benefit others, please scroll to that moment in this video and put a comment so that my team and I can go back and use that information to produce higher quality content in the future. So thank you. Yeah, that's it. Until next week at 11:45 Mountain Standard Time, my name is Alexander. I'm the president and executive producer at Measurable Genius, and I thank you for watching this week's episode of Incremental Progress, and I'll talk to you at the next perfect time.